secure.
Outside of forcing a Game 6, the Clippers also, I'm sorry, the
Sixers.
question is, do the Warriors still look like a championship team?
Yeah, yeah. They still look like a championship team. The problem is other teams do as well. So we look like champions, but the Houston Rockets look like champions. Milwaukee. This road is not going to be paved, and it's karma for those who have always said, Golden State, yeah, man, they've had some great luck in their path to success. Injuries, remember going back in the days, injuries to Blake, Chris Paul. Then you go back to injuries to Kevin Love, Kyrie. And then you look at last year's situation. Oh, Chris Paul goes there. Everybody kept saying, oh, that's a lucky bunch. They ain't lucky anymore. This year is going to be hard luck. A team that is deep with some dogs is going to be the kryptonite to this team. And our team, we have a ceiling. I'm a Clippers fan. Our team. Our team. My Clippers. But I can do my job, which is the objective. We have a ceiling. We don't have the superstar. But Houston does. And if they get out of this series, which, we'll see how that plays out, there are deep dogs waiting for this team, and it's going to be a very tough road for this team to go out there and repeat.
Yeah, they're thinner than they've been in years past, but last year they still had their top 4 guys to average 37 minutes a game, so they rolled out their guys extensively. The problem, as you point out there, is that Houston's kind of lurking, and the Rockets, to me, are a lot like what the Spurs were in 2014. They played against Miami in 2013. They thought they had them. They were right there. The ropes were being put up. They were ready to win that championship, and they had that taken away from them. I've been down to Houston a bunch, and the Rockets' mindset is that they thought they had them last year in the playoffs. Then Chris Paul gets hurt, and everything kind of unravels for there. They're going into this series, the most likely series, not only with enough talent to compete with Golden State, but certainly the chip on their shoulder to push them through some of these tough games. And if you're Golden State, you got to really be concerned about the point of attack. I mean, they're getting killed off the dribble by Lou Williams. Like, Lou Williams is just penetrating, and not just against Steph Curry. Steph Curry gets a lot of blame, but he's going up against Klay Thompson. He's going up against Andre Iguodala. If you're having problems containing Lou Williams, you are going to have problems with Harden and Chris Paul.
First of all, I want to say congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, now you're going to act like it's
No. And then, wait. Then later on, maybe I'll treat you to something a little bit later.
Later?
Yeah, a little bit later.
Hint. My dog.
But 3 things. One, give credit to Golden State because they've elevated everyone else to improve their rosters to compete with them. All the other teams in the league kind of modeled after what Golden State their offense, their mindset, how they played, how they shot the ball, all of these things. So give them credit there. Second, I think it's a little bit different because Houston, I think from the perspective of, we're looking at the Clippers and saying, well, there's a chink in the armor with Golden State. But defensively, I don't think Houston poses the same kind of problems or issues that the Clippers do. It's a different makeup. This is a different kind of a challenge with the Clipper team than it will be against Houston. It'll be a challenge, but it's going to be different because Clippers has something different to prove outside other than Houston. And third, complacency is always there. And I talked about this from the beginning of the year. The biggest thing Golden State had to deal with was complacency, okay? They figured they can get this game, come in. They never matched the intensity of the team that was about to be closed out. And if you don't do that from the beginning of the game, you're going to have a dogfight, and that's what we saw.
I think that they don't look like a championship team, but not because of a threat in the West. I think that the advantage they're going to have over Houston will be on the sidelines, Steve Kerr versus Mike D'Antoni. He's now facing Doc Rivers and a very motivated organization that's putting together an awesome sales pitch for this offseason. He's going to face Mike D'Antoni. When they get to the East, though, and the NBA Finals, when they have to face Boston or Toronto or Milwaukee, really deep teams. And if you've had to struggle in the West, I think that's where their lack of bench is going to show up. They're going to be more worn out when they get to the NBA Finals than in any of their previous runs, and they're going to face really deep, well-coached teams.
And the East teams that you're talking about are built to play against Golden State. And I don't know if Boston or Toronto did it this way on purpose, But the biggest problems that Golden State have had are against teams that can switch everything. And if you're Toronto, you've got two of the best perimeter defenders in the league in Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam. There's a reason that Boston over the last 3 years has basically played Golden State to a standstill in their matchups. They can switch everything, and they can have guys that defend multiple positions. So if Golden State is a little bit more beat up, they're going to be playing teams that are equipped to defend them at a high level.
And let me say one more thing, because this is Clipper talk, right?
You finna get into Clipper talk.
I'm just going to say this. There's a reason why Steve Kerr's in his feelings, because he's only lost 2 first-round games in the series ever since he's been there. He lost 2 in
That was also a brutal question. What's your idea?
I believe it. I think it's Clipper time. I think the Lakers are in a mess. LeBron has jumped on the Titanic, and Steve Ballmer is building basically the perfect organization. He's the richest owner in the NBA. I think the richest owner in sports.
Yes.
He's he ran Doc back to the position where Doc can excel as a coach. Lawrence Frank's doing a great job at the front office. And he has Jerry West, the guy with the Midas touch. It's the perfect. Who wouldn't want to play for the Clippers right now, other than their Donald Sterling history?
I mean, we could really rename L.A. Clip City, Chip City. I mean, it's a real thing going on right now. Just letting you know. Like, look,
there you go.
In this recruitment of KD, I don't think it's happening in the moment. I think recruiting now, as I see it, from the athletes today, from when we were getting recruited, they make their assessments from distance and afar and with their brain power. You can't show up and then just say, oh, look at this nice billboard of me or this nice video of me. They're so used to being adored everywhere they go that in the moment doesn't matter. It's infrastructure. It's projections. What's this team look like? Assets, resources. And if you make that assessment of all the teams out there, there's not a team trumping the Clippers. So for KD, I think he's already sat back and said, I know what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to go through the process, and you could change me on the fringes potentially, but the core of my thinking has already been made up in my mind. They're trying to add syrup to something that's already done, but I think that he knows that the Clippers are second to none in terms of their future.
Well, they built something here culturally, I think, that people really enjoy, and guys want to play for. One, you talked about the ownership. 2, Doc on the bench, as a player's coach, but a winning player's coach that understands what's going on. And the core of the group are young guys that just want to play. They want to play and they want to accomplish something. I'm going to go back to this. It's the right free agent that you bring in because you don't want to disrupt the culture. I don't know if Kimba fits that mold in regards to with Shai Gilgeous, his growth as a young point guard. Right. It's somebody on the wing you need. KD, for some reason, it opens up the door, but I don't see KD making that move to L.A. I still see it back east a little bit. I'm not saying that the opportunity, he may not look at it differently today than he did earlier in the year. Because this is a totally different Clipper team than what you thought it would be. I'm still edging towards a little bit towards, Kawhi, a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, but I don't say it eliminates KD, but I'm going to put him below that Kawhi opportunity if it was just me.
You know, the top-tier free agents have often told me that the functionality of an organization is big for them when they get in these meetings. And, you know, Dwayne Wade in 2010, when he took his Knicks meeting, one of the things he said coming out of it was that he didn't feel like the Knicks were ready to win at a high level. Kevin Durant, as we've seen in years past, is influenced by these meetings. He goes into these meetings, whether it's what all those guys did in the Hamptons or Boston bringing Tom Brady, like he can be influenced by what happens in the room. And the Clippers, as you guys mentioned, are going to walk into the room with Doc Rivers, with a deep front office staff, and with Steve Ballmer, who seems to be one of the more likable owners in the NBA. The Knicks, who I think are the top competition here for Kevin Durant, who are they going to walk into the room with? And how are they going to sell Kevin Durant on his future, other than saying you can bring whoever you want with you? You can take Kyrie Irving or ex-free agent and bring him along with you. I think that's a factor not enough people are talking about.
I disagree with that, and I think of all of us, Jimmy, you can understand this. KD is that beautiful woman. I mean, she done heard it all. I mean, she can't go to the grocery store without hearing, all right, what else you got to say? If she ain't feeling you, you could be Shakespeare in your poetic attempt, and it ain't going to work. But if she feeling you, guess what? I think he's feeling the Clippers already. KD's selling his Malibu home, and everyone's like, oh, he definitely ain't going to be in L.A. Y'all ever get to L.A. proper from Malibu? You better sell that home.
It's hard to get
I'm letting y'all know that he's selling that home potentially to get a little closer to L.A., not farther.
I'll say this, too, about KD. And he seems like this kind of person that, in his mind, he kind of knows what he wants to do, okay? And that a player at his caliber, I'm not going to use the word sell because you can't really sell him. He knows what he wants, okay?
Exactly.
He knows exactly what he wants. Now, how he gets there is the question. In regards to another championship, can it be his team in regards to his legacy? What makes most sense post his basketball career? Those are the other intangibles, I think, that a guy now going on the back end of his career, he's still got a long way to go, but looks at it a little bit differently.
Jim, I like your point about KD knowing what he wants, but I think what Ballmer and Doc Rivers are going to sell is, we know what you want, but we have something even better to offer you. And I say to my lawyers here, I used to eat at Applebee's all the time. He took me to Capitol Grill. I ain't ate at Applebee's.
Don't you think, you guys, like, the Knicks can screw this up? Like, this is the Knicks can screw this up. James Dolan can get in the room and screw this up. They've done it in the past.
But I don't think he would with Steve Mills and Perry there now.
He did it with Donnie Walsh.
Hold up, but I think it's a little bit different with these two in the front office, okay? And especially with Fizdale.
Fizdale's
it's
a fact.
different tenor in New York now compared to how it was in the past.
I never got to my point about the Clippers in terms of what.
I thought you were talking about Applebee's.
I'm just going to tell you what they're going to get in the room. What Doc Rivers is going to say is, like, we're the only organization that can offer a superstar real in-game, day-to-day rest because we got Lou Williams and Harold coming off the bench. We've created a culture where guys this good will play the bench in support of you. You don't have to sit out games. We can actually rest you in games because these two dogs are going to come off the bench and carry the team while y'all chilling.
Good point.
It's an extra sales point. Nobody else can offer that. Who's got two guys like that coming off the – nobody else
Good
can
point.
offer
That's a
that.
great point.